Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 55 of Warhammer Imperium magazine, the new terrain piece we get with it, and learning the rules for secondary objectives in our games. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we're bringing you issue 55 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. This issue came with another set of Thermic Plasma Conduits, the second of two that come with this magazine. We'll see them on our battlefield shortly, but if you want to skip ahead you can use the time code in the description or the chapter bars, but we'll just have a look through the issue before we do that. We've got a bit more about the battle zone that we're fighting over in our games at the moment, the world of Alectia. This is talking about the power supplies and infrastructure of the Hive, which doesn't sound that interesting by itself. But over the page we learn about how that ties into today's game. The game later suggests that we play the game 4 times, with a different location each time and a different objective each time, and we can record who won each battle on this page. Then we've got some background on the Iron Hands chapter of Space Marines, another of the original first founding legions led by the Primarch Ferrus Manus, but he was killed right at the start of the Horus Heresy, and the Iron Hands took this to be due to the weakness of his flesh that this was possible. Since then, they have a culture of upgrading themselves with bionic enhancements to purge their weakness of the flesh and also their emotions, relying only on logic. There's a bit about their named character, Iron Father Pharos here, who is actually considered a bit of a maverick in that he's not quite so sold on the logic-only doctrine and believes that a balance between emotions and logic is necessary for war. He's the Iron Hands Master of the Forge, so he's in charge of all their relics and war engines. And it also mentions how they get on quite well with the Adeptus Mechanicus, both seeing the machine as being superior to the creations of flesh. Now we learn more about the Ecclesiarchy, the Imperial Church. While it is prohibited from having a standing army, due to the decree passive, it doesn't stop individual clergy from raising rabbles and mobs of zealots and other religious fanatics to prosecute the wars of faith in the Imperium. So while the battle sisters are still relied on for a lot of the fighting, they are often supplemented by devout pilgrims. And there's some of those here. So missionaries and preachers tend to be low-ranking members of the imperial clergy who spur on their masses into battle. The Death Cult assassins are members of strange organisations that revere the emperor effectively as a sort of god of war. They tend to be expert infiltrators and combatants who are often also used by the Inquisition for their purposes. And also crusaders, pious warriors, often equipped with the classic sword and shield, who are often drawn from noble families and fight in small bands to protect important people and try and kill important enemies. Now we have the build guide for the plasma conduits. These are exactly the same as the ones we got in a previous issue, so you can see how they go together here. And the magazine does suggest you build them in the same way as the previous lot, although you can actually build them however you want. And then they are finished there. And then the painting guide is again very similar to the previous ones, although we have a few more paints and techniques now, so just adding those. So they look a bit more colourful than the previous ones, and it also gives you some ideas of how to add weathering like rust glazes of Mornfang Brown and Trollslayer Orange into the recesses, and painting pipes and other details. And there they are fully painted there. But that's it for the contents of this issue. We'll now have a look at some new rules and then get into our game.
So before we can get into today's game, we have some more stratagems to look at, this time for the Adeptus Mechanicus. So like the Sisters and the Necrons, we have 4 new stratagems for them to use. First up we have Machine Superiority, which is used in the fight phase. When a Skitarii unit from your army is selected to fight, until the end of the phase, that unit gets +1 strength. The only Skitarii models we have are the Skitarii Rangers, that make them strength 4. And there's Elimination Volley, which is used in the shooting phase when a Cataphrone Servitor unit is selected to shoot. And until the end of the phase, whenever each model in that unit makes an attack that targets a unit with their own half range, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target. Both of those cost 1 command point. Then we have Data Blessed Auto Summon, which costs 2 command points. This is used in the command phase, where you can select 1 Adeptus Mechanicus unit within 6 of a friendly tech priest, and you can select 1 canticle which you have not activated yet during the game, and then until the next command phase, that unit counts as having that canticle active as well as the one you currently have active. And then Galvanic Volley Fire for 2 command points, used in the shooting phase when a Skitarii Rangers unit is selected to shoot, and then until the end of the phase. Galvanic Rifles in that unit are the Rapid Fire 2 type instead of the Heavy 2 type, so it makes them a bit more mobile, gives them a bit more firepower at close range as well. And then there's some tutorials for the last 2 there. For some reason it shows the sniper in the Skitarii Rangers unit, but no, these only the galvanic rifles, not the arquebus as well. These become rapid fire 2, so they don't get the movement penalty and can shoot twice at close range. And then it shows Data Blessed Auto Summon there being used on the Cataphrone Servitors, just make sure to keep track of which canticles you use so you don't accidentally use one you've already used. And then we have some more rules for missions as well. These are secondary objectives, so sometimes a mission will ask you to choose a number of secondary objectives. You can score no more than 15 victory points from each secondary objective you select, and any more are just wasted. And each secondary objective comes from a category, and you can only have one from each category, although we're only given one from each category at the moment. Under Purge the Enemy, we have the Slay the Warlord secondary objective, which happens at the end of the game. 6 victory points at the end of the battle if the enemy warlord has been destroyed. Under No Mercy, No Respite, we have Attrition, which is a progressive objective where we score 4 victory points at the end of each battle round if more enemy units than friendly units were destroyed that battle round, so if you do more damage to the enemy. Under Battlefield Supremacy, we have Domination, which is a progressive objective where you score 3 victory points if you control more than half of the total number of objective markers on the battlefield at the end of your turn. And then under Shadow Operations, we have Raise the Banners High, which is a progressive and end game objective. And what this does is it gives infantry units in your army a new action they can perform, which is Raise the Banners, which they can do at the end of your movement phase, as long as they're within range of an objective. The action is completed at the end of your turn. Multiple units can do it, but they have to be in range of different objectives if they try and do it. And you cannot do it if an enemy unit is also within range of the objective you're trying to raise the banner on. If this action is successfully completed, that objective marker is said to have your banner raised on it, although the banner is removed if an enemy unit controls the objective at the start of any phase, and you score a victory point at the end of each of your command phases, and 1 victory point at the end of the battle for each objective marker on the battlefield that has one of your banners raised upon it. And there's a little tutorial here for Raise the Banners High and keeping track of how many victory points you're scoring for each objective during the game. And now we have the backstory for today's game. Fittingly, since we've got some plasma conduits in this issue. This game we're taking place in the Generatorum, where the Necron Overlord, frustrated by the continued resistance of the Imperium, has decided to start destroying key infrastructure in Alectia to try and shepherd the defenders into a single pocket, and the Imperium can't really do anything about that except try and stop the Necrons from doing that. And then we're on to today's mission, Battle in the Generatorum. So you can see the battle map there at the bottom. It's using the maps from issue 18 and 38 on the printed terrain side, seeing as we can actually fill that all out now. And then there's a 6-inch deployment zone on either short edge, and then there are 4 objectives in a diamond around the middle. For our forces, the Necrons have the Overlord, the Plasmancer, 2 units of 10 Necron Warriors, a unit of 5 Immortals, a unit of 3 Scarabs, 2 Crypto Thralls and the Canoptic Reanimator, while the Imperium have the Canoness, the 10 Battle Sisters, the 5 Seraphim, the Tech Priest Dominus, the Tech Priest Engineer, the 10 Skitarii Rangers and the 3 Cataphrone Destroyers. The main objectives are Seize Key Locations, which is a progressive objective, which is at the end of each of your turns you score 5 victory points for each objective you control, plus an additional 5 victory points if you control more objectives than your opponent. And then it says here that we should play this mission 4 times, as you would have seen in the battle record. It says to choose the same secondary objective each time, but we're only going to play this once because we don't think it's going to be that interesting to watch us play this effectively the same mission. Not even the terrain is going to change much, so we're just going to do this once, and we might probably choose a different objective each because that's probably more realistic to how a game would normally play. But otherwise this battle lasts 5 battle rounds, and at the end of the battle the player with the most victory points wins. So we'll set up the board and come back after we finish deploying. I can just about get the entire board in shot, so you can see the 2 battle mats on the printed terrain side with all the terrain on them now. So they actually look fairly good, maybe a bit barren in the middle. And you can see, well, you certainly see 3 of your objectives. Number 1 is tucked under the pipe on the left hand side, 2 and 3 along the centre line, and 4 on the right. We rolled off, and Will decided he's going to be the attacker, so I'll be the defender and have to deploy a unit first. So I'll go over my deployment first. At the left, at the top of the board, I have the Battle Sisters with the Canoness, who'll be my Warlord. And then I have the Mechanicus contingent in the centre with the Skitarii Rangers and the Cataphrons. And I also have the Seraphim in Sky Strike waiting to come in. And I also chose my Sacred Right rather than rolling randomly because I don't have any melee units really, so I chose Divine Guidance for the potential for extra armor penetration. And here you can see the Necron deployment.
So down the bottom in the building there is the Immortals, and behind and to their right is the Plasmancer and his 2 Crypto Thrall cronies. And on the other side we have the Warriors with the Overlord in the centre there behind some pipes, the Reanimator, and then the Scarabs out on the flank. And behind them off the board you can see a unit of Warriors with the Gauss Reapers, who I've kept in strategic reserve.
And seeing as we had to choose secondary objectives for this game, I know I said we would probably choose different ones, but we did actually end up choosing the same one, which was Raise the Banners High. So now we're rolling off to see who goes first in the first battle round. Well, I won the roll off, and I think I'll choose to go first. So we'll head into Imperium, turn 1. Now, first thing that happens is I'm going to make the Necrons reveal their cunning plan. So,
Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant first up, which will be the directive where the Overlord gets an extra 3-inch range on his auras and things like that. It wasn't really a good choice for battle round 1, so we'll go with that one.
Yeah, I also gain a Miracle Dice at the start of the first battle round, a 4, I'm going to choose Benediction of the Omnissiah as my canticle and Protector Imperative as my Doctrine Imperative, so +1 ballistic skill, -1 weapon skill. So I'll start off by showing my movement here in the centre. All of the Admech just move forward normally, getting the Tech Priest engines here, most importantly in range of the objective so he can raise the banner on it. Up here in this ruin, you have the Battle Sister Squad with the Canoness you might be able to see in the back who advanced. I rolled a 1 from any advance, so I used a command point to re-roll it. I'm also bringing the Seraphim down here next to Objective 3. Not going to be able to make use of their stratagem when they arrive, but I think it's more important to deny this bottom area of the board from the Necrons, and also, since they come in before the end of the movement phase, they can raise the banner on Objective 3. So that is the end of the movement phase, where I will raise the banners on Objective 3 and Objective 4, raising the banner with the Engine Seer, as he is an infantry unit, and here with the Seraphim. So I'll start the shooting phase off with the Skitarii Rangers. I'm going to have all of them except for the Sniper shoot at that unit of Necron Warriors, while the Sniper can see an Immortal, so you might as well try and pick one of them off. And I'm also going to use the Galvanic Volley Fire stratagem. They're not in range to get the extra shots from rapid fire, but they do ignore the -1 penalty for moving, and with the +1 from Protector Doctrine they'll be hitting on 2s, so I think that is worth doing. So we've got 6 Galvanic Rifles, so 12 shots hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. With the Tech Priest Dominus. So reroll those 2 1s. So they all hit. There were 3 2s in there, so I reckon that's worth it. These wound on 4s. 7 on top of the box.
Most of them get cover from the pipe, or at least 7 of them anyway, so I'm just going to roll these all as though that's true with 4 pluses. I only made 2, so 5 dead warriors so far.
We've got 2 shots from the Plasma Caliber, which I'm not going to supercharge, so 2 shots hitting on 2s, on 1s, they both hit. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound at -3.
I'll put that on one who isn't in cover, so no save.
And then a single shot from the arc rifle that's in range. It hits, also wounds on 3. It does, it's -2.
But I'll take a 5+ in cover. No.
So that's 7 dead warriors. But that's the end of my shooting at them.
Do any of those come back? 5s rerolling 1s. We've got 1 5 and 1 1 to reroll. It's not a great roll. Okay, 2 come back. So 2 come back there. Most of the middle of the unit gutted though.
And my lone sniper, single shot hitting on a 3 rerolling 1s. He hit. It wounds on a 3. He did not wound. And then my unit of Cataphrons are going to shoot at the same warriors as well. I'm not going to supercharge the plasmas, so I'll roll how many hits they have and then roll everything together, because both the plasmas and the grav are all going to be wounding on 3s with AP -3. So 2d6 plasma shots for 11, plus 5 gravs, so it'll be 16 shots. 16 shots hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s because of the Dominus, and I can reroll another one because of Benediction of the Omnissiah. 2 1s in there, and I'll re-roll one of the extra ones. Getting another hit. Well, there's 12 hits, wounding on 3s, and I can re-roll one of these because of Benediction. Just re-roll one of those. Doesn't wound, so that's 9 wounds at AP -3.
Well, I've got 3 still in cover, so they'll be saved on 6s. No 6s, and then the other 2 are just dead.
So that unit of warriors is wiped out. So that's the end of my shooting. Everything else is out of range or doing something. So at the end of the turn, my banners are raised on Objective 3 and 4. I'll actually use these objective markers from Conquest to do that. We have some Necron ones that were made a while ago as well. No victory points yet for doing that, but I do hold 2 objectives. Each is worth 5 victory points, and I control more than the Necrons, so I have 15 victory points, and we're heading into Necrons turn 1.
So in my command phase, I gained command point. I put my will be done on the Immortals, and the Reanimator put his reanimation beam on the Scarabs, which you'll see in a second. But down the bottom of the board, Crypto Thralls advanced just to get there, because it's a long charge otherwise. 4 of the Immortals and the Plasmancer got onto the roof. 1 Immortal didn't have enough movement, so he's actually in the building, looking through a window. And the Overlord has moved to Objective 1 in the middle of the board, because there's the only infantry unit nearby to go and do the action, unfortunately. Well, the Immortals could have done it, but then they couldn't shoot. And then on the top of the board, the Scarabs advanced as well, moving into this building. They're not an infantry unit, so they can't do the action on the objective, even if they were in range. And the Reanimator is just behind the building there, keeping the Scarabs within range of its beam. And then at the end of the movement phase, we've got 2 things to happen. The Overlord will start to raise the banner on Objective 1, and the Plasmancer's Harbinger of Destruction can just about see the Seraphim Superior, so that will hit them. So 3 dice on 4s doing mortal wounds. Just 1.
Yeah, I'll just take away this one at the back.
So then we're into the shooting phase. The Plasmancer can still see the Seraphim Superior, so he'll shoot at them as well. D3 shots with his Plasmic Lance, just the 1. It hits on a 3. Yep. Wounds on a 2. No. I'll spend a command point to reroll that 1, just because I've got loads of command points. It's a wound. AP -3.
Well, 5+ invulnerable save, because they've got a better version of the innate one. Nope. So it's another dead Seraphim.
The Immortals can actually all see the Seraphim as well. They can see the Superior's base around the corner of the reactor thingy. So we'll shoot them just because they get more shots at this range, and if I clear the Seraphim off, I can maybe be able to take that objective. 10 shots hitting on 2s because of 9 with the gun. A lot of 2s, but they're all hit. And winning on 3s. That's only 4 wounds.
So the human troop reactor does actually provide cover. It's also inspiring as well if any of the Seraphim live. So they have 4+ saves. And I think I will use my miracle dice now to guarantee one of those actually. So 3 more saves at 4+. I made 1, so 2 overall. Just the Superior left there.
But that's the end of my shooting. The Reanimator is not in range.
In the morale phase, the Seraphim Superior does not need to take a morale test because she has +1 leadership from the inspiring terrain piece, and it's only inspiring for Imperium as well. So that brings up to leadership 10, so even though she lost her 4 friends, she's completely fine. And then the Overlord will raise the banners on objective 1.
And we use these Necron objectives to mark that.
And then the Necrons only hold objective 1, gaining 5 victory points. At the end of battle round 1, the Necrons have 5 victory points, whereas the Imperium have 15. And then we'll head into Imperium turn 2.
Next command protocol will be Protocol of the Sudden Storm, and I'll just pick the directive for +1 movement. The other option would be do actions and still shoot, but I'm not going to have any units that are going to be within range of characters and objectives to be able to benefit from that.
Yeah, I also gain a miracle dice at the start of the battle round. 2. I also gain 2 victory points because I have 2 banners, so I go up to 17. So I'll show my movement at the top of the board. The Battle Sisters and the Canoness have moved out. The Canoness was just within 9 inches of objective 2, so she can do some banner placing. In the middle, the Skitari and the Cataphrons aren't going to move, but the Tech Priest Dominus has moved round, trying to get him in range of something eventually. Tech Priest Entrance here advanced, just so he gets more towards objective 2 to be annoying, and the Seraphim Superior is going to move around the Hemotrope reactor, so she can throw a grenade at those Cryptophores. I'll start shooting with the Battle Sisters. All of them except the Superior can see the Scarabs. The Superior might be able to see the Reanimator. She'll shoot at that, otherwise the rest will all shoot the Scarabs. Just do the Superior shots first to get them out of the way. 2 shots hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. They both hit. Wounding on 5s, 6s to have an extra AP. Hey, got wounded with an extra AP.
It was a 4+ save. Right, failed. It's down to 5 wounds.
Whoa. Do the Storm Bolter first because it's 2 damage, so it's got 4 shots for being within rapid fire range. Hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. Roll that 1. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 6s are extra AP. 2 wounds, 1 with an extra AP.
Well, the normal one I have a 5+ for being in cover. I did, and the other one will be a 6+ for being in cover. No, I rolled them the wrong way around.
And then D6 shots from the Flamer for 3. These wound on 3s, just on 5. 1.
5+. Nope.
And then 7 bolt guns from the regular Battle Sisters, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Reroll that 1. So 12 hits. Wounding on 3s, 6s of extra AP. 7 regular wounds, and then 2 with extra AP.
So 7 5s. That's 5 so far. 2 6s. So 7 wounds more.
So that leaves 1 Scarab base on 2 wounds.
But then they get to try and reanimate. So 8 dice because I lost 2 bases. Coming back on 4s because the Reanimator is reanimating them. Well, I did get 4 4s, so a base comes back. And I'll bring that base back there because if it's within 3 inches of the objective, the action cannot be completed. Rereading the objective, I don't think that's actually true. It's only when you start the action that you can't have any enemy units nearby. But as you'll see in a minute, it's not going to make any difference anyway.
We'll do the Seraphim Superior next. She's going to throw a crack grenade at the Crypto Thralls. There's 1 shot hitting on a 3. She hits, and it wounds on a 3. Here it does. It's -1 AP.
So a 4+ save. That was a failure. I'm actually going to re-roll that armor save. Yes, that's succeeded.
I'll do the Cataphrons next. I'll put all the Grab and the Heavy Plasmas into the Immortals. I'm not going to supercharge the Plasmas, and I'll put the Phosphor Blaster into the Scarabs if they're in range. Well, I got 1 shot at the Scarabs, so I'll do that first on 4 rolling 1s. Hit. Wounds on a 3. No. So I'll do the Grab first. 5 shots hitting on 4 rolling 1s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound, -3 AP.
1 save on 5. No, 1 dead so far.
And then 2d6 plasma shots for 9. 9 plasma shots on 4s, rolling 1s. Okay. It's going to be 6. Wounding on 3s, because strength 7. 4 wounds, AP -3.
And 5s. Made 1, so 1 immortal left. 4 animations. All failed. I'll leave the 1 in the building.
So we've just got the Skitarii Rangers left. So we'll put the Sniper into the Plasmancer, 4 Galvanic Rifles into the Scarabs. There's 2 Galvanic Rifles that can't see the Scarabs, so they'll go into the remaining Immortal, I think. And then the Arc Rifle and the Plasma, they'll go into the Scarabs as well, because I think I want to get rid of them. So I'll do Sniper Shot on the Plasmancer, 1 shot hitting on 3 rolling ones, he hits. Wounds on a 3. He wounds and does a mortal wound in addition.
5+ save on cover. He fails.
D3 damage, 1, so that's 2 damage. 4 rifle shots at the Immortal, on 3s rolling ones, they all hit. Only wounding on 5s though, getting a single wound.
With a 3+ save because of cover, yes.
8 rifle shots at the Scarabs, on 3s rolling ones, getting 6 hits. These wound on 3s, getting 4.
The wounded one is in cover, so it'll be 6s to save, and now it's dead, and then one of the other won't have a save, so that one's down to 2 wounds.
And then the Arc Rifle's going to be out of rapid fire range, so I'll do it with the Plasma as well, because it's both going to be wounding on 3s, no, on 2s rather, so 3 shots between them on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 2s, they both wound, so that Scarab base will be destroyed. That'll be it for my shooting. The Lone Immortal won't need to make a morale test, because he's leadership 10, and he's close to the Warlord anyway. At the end of my turn, the Canoness will be able to raise the banner under objective 2. And I also hold 3 objectives, which is more than the Necrons, so that'll be 20 victory points. And I'll go up to 37. We'll head into Necron's turn 2.
So command phase is a couple of living metal regaining wounds, and then the Overlord will do is Resurrection Orb on the remaining Immortal. That's up to 3 command points. Resurrection Orb gets me an Immortal. My will be done went on the Immortals as well, and then the Overlord advances to move up right into the middle. He's obviously going to be a tempting target, but I can't really afford the luxury of Lookout Sir over this side of the board anyway. The Crypto Thralls have continued round the Hematrit Reactor. The Plasmancer advanced to get himself there in the shadow of the Hematrit Reactor, but he can see the Battle Sisters on the other side of the board, so he'll be able to hit them with Harbinger of Destruction. Yeah, he cannot see the Seraphim Superior. The 2 Immortals have moved out to take Objective 1 again. And the Reanimator finally has moved up into the face of the Battle Sisters, where it didn't have anything to reanimate. And I'm also not going to bring in my new warriors this turn, because I'm kind of limited where I could put them. The only place would be up behind the Reanimator. Well, and it will just give the Imperium more things to shoot at the moment, so I'm going to keep them off the board for now.
And the Necrons also gain a victory point for their banner as well, bringing them up to 6.
It's true. At the end of the movement phase, no banners to try and raise, but Harbinger of Destruction will go off and it'll target the Battle Sisters, as I said before. On 4s. We've got another move, mortal wound.
We'll lose that Battle Sister there.
So then on to the shooting phase, the Crypto Thralls will shoot their pistol eye weapons into the Seraphim Superior. 4 shots hitting on 3s because they're within 6 inches of the Plasmancer. 2 hits, wounding on 3s because it's strength 5. That's just the 1 at AP -2.
She's got cover, so a 4+. 80 lives.
The Plasmancer will shoot the Battle Sisters, it's the only thing he can see. D3 shots, 3 hitting on 3s, 2, and wounding on 2s. 2, AP -3.
Oh, so it's going to be 6+ invulnerable saves. No, 2 dead Battle Sisters. What dead Bolt Gunners?
Immortals are in range of them as well, just about, so shoot them. Just in range for the double shots, I mean, so 4 shots on 2s. Oh, okay, they will hit. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
3 5+ armour. Didn't make any. 2, 3, that's all of the regular Bolt Gunners.
And the Reanimator will shoot them as well. 6 shots on 4s. 3, and wounding on 2s. This is going to strength 6, they will wound. AP -2 again.
5+. I made 1. We'll use the Bolt Gunner. We'll use a Storm Bolter as well.
That's all my shooting, so on to the charge phase. The Animator will charge the 2 remaining Battle Sisters.
Yeah, they'll overwatch to see if they do any damage. The Superior will throw a Crack Grenade, and then we'll have the Flamer as well. Crack Grenade on the 6 rolling ones. No. D6 shot hits from the Flamer. 4, so when you're on 4s. 3 wounds at 8, well, all at AP -1.
So 3 4+ saves. Did a damage to it.
Yay.
And then its charge roll is a 6, which will do. So I just charged there, staying 3 inches away from the Canoness. Crypto Thralls will charge that Seraphim Superior as well. Their charge is a 5. So no more charges, the overall advanced, just in case you're wondering.
They're getting into the Seraphim Superior. And now there are at least 3 Necrons on that objective, so that banner is removed.
At the start of the fight phase, the Seraphim Superior was within 6 inches of the Plasmancer, so she might take a mortal wound on a 4+. She does not. And I'll do the Crypto Thralls first. They will actually just pile in a smidge, just getting into base contact. They actually have 6 attacks each, because they're within 6 inches of the Plasmancer, which hit on 3s. 9 hits. Wounding on 3s, strength 5. That is 7 wounds with an AP of -1.
Well, can she make a lot of armour saves? Apparently.
Nearly.
So I think I will spend a command point to use Moment of Grace to discard my Miracle Dice to bump this up to a 4, so she actually lives.
And then the Reanimator gets to kick those battle sisters. It has 4 attacks which hit on 4s. Only 1. It wounds on a 3 because it's only strength 5. Oh, it fails to wound.
So 4 attacks from the Battle Sisters on 4s rerolling 1s. 2 hits. 5s. Nope. So, thanks to the blessing of the Emperor, the Seraphim Superior survives, so she gets to fight back against the Crypto Thralls. 3 attacks from the Seraphim Superior on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. Nope. Well, that is it for melee combat, but those Battle Sisters up there have to take a morale test, having lost most of the unit. Pretty much need to roll a 1. Oh, they stay. And then at the end of the turn, the Necrons hold 2 objectives and gain 10 victory points, going up to 16. And all that over, we'll head into Imperium turn 3. So, get the admin out of the way, I gain a Miracle Dice, which is a 2 again, and a command point, and I get to see what the Necrons' next protocol is.
It's the Vengeful Stars, and we will go for the extra AP on 6s to wound, because I'm not sure the colour one will be that useful at this point.
So for my canticle, I'm going to choose Litany of the Electromancer, just in case any of my Cataphrons end up in melee in the next turn. And for my Doctrine, I'm going to choose the Aggressor Imperative for plus 3 inches of movement and -1 save, and that gives them enough movement to get around the pipe. Cataphrons moving up behind to take their place, and the Dominus moving up to protect his aura. Down here at the bottom, the Seraphim Superior has fallen back, while the Engineer has advanced to get around the pipe, so they're both in range of the objective. And up at the top, Canoness is going to stay where she is, and the 2 Battle Sisters are going to fall back as well, and the Canoness will use her command staff on herself. So in the shooting phase, I'll start with the Canoness, just going to throw a crack grenade at the Reanimator. One shot hits on the 2 rerolling 1s, she hit, wounds on 3, it wounded, AP -1.
4 plus.
Nope. D3 damage, 2.
Down to 3.
Got to mention in the movement phase, I've also got 2 victory points for my 2 banners, so up to 39. So I'll do the Scutari next, spending both command points for the Galvanic Volleyfire stratagem. Then I'm going to put all of the rifles into the 2 Crypto Thralls, and they'll all be within 15. Everyone else will shoot at the Reanimator. And I will supercharge for the extra damage. So 24 rifle shots on 3s, rerolling 1. 2 1s to reroll, getting 2 extra hits. So there's only 4 misses in there, so that'll be 20 hits. Only on 5s though, because it's only strength 4. So there's 12 wounds in there, at AP -1.
12, 4 plus saves. Yeah, they're definitely dead.
And then shooting at the Reanimator, I'll do the Sniper first. He hits on a 4 because he's still got a heavy weapon. We hit. Wounds on a 3. Oh, he wounded and does a mortal wound in addition.
That made it save, so it just takes a mortal wound.
I'll do the Plasma. So he has 2 shots on 3s rolling 1s. Whoa. He doesn't blow up, thankfully. He gets 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. Yes. AP -3.
6 to save. Nope, it's destroyed. Explodes on 6. No.
I'll do the Dominus next. He's going to shoot at the Immortals. 3 shots from the Volkite Blaster on 3s. Getting 2. Yeah. Really on 3s. 6s do 2 mortal wounds. No 6s, but 2 wounds.
So 2s because they're behind cover. Yeah, they're fine.
And a Phosphorus Serpenta shot as well, because it's actually in range for once. On a 2. It hit. Wounds on a 3, I think it's strength 5, wounded, AP -1.
3 plus. We're good.
I've only got the Cataphrons left to shoot. I'll put the Grav and the Phosphor Blaster into the Immortals, and then the 2 heavy plasmas I'll supercharge and shoot the Overlord. So I'll do the shooting at the Immortals first. The black dice will be the Phosphor Blaster. These hit on 4s rerolling 1s. Rerolls. So only 2 Grav hits, which wound on 4s. Getting 1 wound, AP -3.
That's a save.
Cool. And then 2d6 Plasma for 3. Uh-oh. Yeah, on 4s rerolling 1s. Only getting 1. 3 to wounds.
4 plus invulnerable. Made it.
But that'll be it for my shooting, and I will hold 3 objectives and get 20 more victory points and go up to 59. The Necrons are on 16 as we head into Necrons turn 3.
But I think I'll just concede there because I have 2 angry characters, a couple of mortals left. A unit I haven't even brought in yet, but the problem is they can't come in within 9 of an Imperium unit, so they can't get on the objectives to do any banner raising or objective holding. And they're in a short range guns anyway, so they won't be able to shoot very much, other than like 2 Battle Sisters maybe. And the Imperium being 59 to 16 ahead on victory points, there's no way I'm going to catch up now at this point. Yeah, and I can't take enough objectives to claw back the difference, so yeah, definitely not going to change the result.
Yeah, so that'll be an Imperial victory. And as we said, we're only doing 1 rather than playing it 4 times. So we'll recap that game for you now. So that was the game for issue 55 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How do you think that went?
About how I expected when in games where you go first and have Cataphrone Destroyers and Skitarii Rangers to shoot at my stuff. Unfortunately, deleting that entire unit of warriors just set the tone for the whole game. I did probably make a slight mistake in my deployment, not having another unit to easily go and put the banner on objective 1, like the Crypto Thralls, but you didn't shoot the Overlord anyway, so I don't think it made a great deal of difference in the end. I mean, otherwise, obviously, my tactic was always going to be try and go around the flanks and take cover from behind things, which sort of worked. You mostly shot at things I cared less about. I suppose I took a gamble in putting something in strategic reserve that it would actually be able to come in and do something useful. If I'd gone first, it would have been better because I could have easily brought that unit on one flank or the other, and the warriors could have come on in range of an objective and then immediately raised the banner, and I was hoping with my command protocols I'd be able to drop them on an objective at turn 2 and still shoot, but that was not how it panned out.
Yeah, I think this happened the last time I had a mixed Mechanicus and Sisters force. Basically the Sisters all died and the Mechanicus shot everything to death.
But your sisters get a lot of points while they died.
Yeah, I think once I denied you the 2 flanks, basically with the Seraphim and the Battle Sisters.
Like we've seen in some of these other games, if you go first, you can consolidate an early hold on the objectives, and it's difficult to get rid of your units with inferior firepower as well. Also, your Seraphim Superior rolling really well for armor saves did make a real difference actually, because it was her that prevented me really from bringing on those warriors, just by being there.
I mean, it did cost me a command point and a miracle dice to save her, but still. Yeah, and I don't think if you played on it would have made that much difference. I probably would have concentrated my shooting on the warriors. I was more interested in killing off units, because those are what you need to take objectives, really. I know your Overlord is very dangerous, but he's not going to take objectives on his own.
No, against things like big units of Skitarii and Battle Sisters, he's kind of wasted. All the things that he can beat in combat with his 3 damage were hiding at the back.
Yeah, although in the grand scheme of things, I don't think the secondary objectives actually made that much difference. I don't think it would have made much difference, regardless of what we picked. The vast majority of my victory points were from the main objective. I only got about 4 victory points from the banners, which is probably always going to be the case. Secondary objectives are more for like tie-breaking, I suppose. I imagine there will be games that will come down to victory points earned from secondary objectives, but in this game, it just...
Yeah, and obviously we only did play the game once, but the other 3 secondary objectives, I didn't pick Slay the Warlord because I thought you would just keep whichever was your character was your Warlord hidden at the back, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. I didn't pick Attrition because I knew you could reliably delete at least 1 unit per turn with the Cataphrons, so I didn't think I was going to win that. And Domination, well, if you're getting that one, you're probably winning the game anyway by having more objectives in the first place.
Yeah, you already get 5 for having more objectives, which is more than having more than half of them. Raise the banners, I mean, you'll reliably get 1. You get 1 at the end. So say you get 5 if you hold your home objective in this game all the time. There's already just one less than Slay the Warlord. I wouldn't pick Slay the Warlord as the Imperium because it's almost certainly going to be the Overlord, who's very annoying to get rid of, and can even come back as well because of that one stratagem the Necrons have. Attrition, probably not a bad choice for me, considering I have so much range firepower.
Now, obviously, those secondary objectives probably will be repeated in games to come, where there might be more or fewer objectives, so some of those might become more attractive choices, or indeed, you might not have this kind of army, so...
Yeah, I mean, you really have to think about it. Holding more than half the objectives possibly is more useful if there's only, say, 3 objectives, because it's much easier to achieve then. Anyway, I'm sure if we pick other ones, we'll probably talk about them more in future issues. Yeah, and I got a lot of use out of galvanic volley fire. It's actually very dangerous. Just for the sheer amount of shots. They're also actually just being able to move and not have a penalty.
Yeah, it is relatively expensive for 2 command points, but I think it can be worth it. It's when you're within 15 inches and getting 4 shots per model, that's really good with them.
Whereas the other stratagems, the auto-wounding within half range of the Cataphrons, I'd probably most likely use it against the Chark Stalker because I'm only wounding on 4s. I'm not sure how often they'll really be within half range. And I think it'd be much more useful if they were armed with grabs. With the plasmas having random numbers of shots, it's not too handy.
Yeah, and the plasma usually doesn't have that much of a problem with wounding anyway.
And flamers as well, which don't roll to hit, so they don't auto-wound. The other 2 stratagems, not sure how much use I'm going to get out of them. Having extra strength on Skitarii Rangers isn't that helpful. It would be more useful if I had Skitarii Vanguard, because they reduce toughness of enemy units. That would actually make a difference. With Skitarii Rangers, it's probably not that useful.
The main use that I can think of is if they get charged by scarabs and you want to try and get rid of the scarabs quickly. Yeah. I suppose it would work quite well with the imperative for the extra weapon skill, but it's not going to come up too often.
And the other one, we're getting an extra countergalactic on a unit, could actually be pretty useful because you could effectively let you use something like Shroud's Arm or Benediction of the Omnicide twice on the unit of Cataphrons, because it doesn't use up that use. So you could do something and then do Benediction in one turn and then do Benediction again the next turn, getting a lot of extra firepower with the Cataphrons. Pretty expensive to do that. Imagine in a bigger game, probably want to do it on a unit of 6 Cataphrons.
Yeah, if you have a big unit of Cataphrons that you're relying on to do a lot of damage, then buffing them like that would be handy.
And we did get more Thermic Plasma Conduits. So terrain's not the most exciting thing, but it is nice to have more of it and does add more cover. And it is nice to see the two mats set out on the printed side. It's a pretty decent terrain setup for this size of board as well. I'll probably put something in the middle because it's a bit open there.
Yeah, they're the same as the other ones, but that's not a bad thing.
I mean, you can mix and match things, maybe make just one huge pile if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you don't have to build on the way magazine says.
And it is good value for money actually on this terrain. I'm not sure if you can get this exact terrain anymore. You can get some very similar pipes in one of the starter sets, I think. Well, there's not much more to say about this game or this issue, so as always, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. And leave any comments, so if you've been playing these games as well, tell us how you've been getting on. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.